This video is the beginner's guide for the SwissMicros DM42n. Okay, to start, we're going to take a paper clip, the ultimate tool, flip the calculator over. There's a reset opening here. I'm going to put the paper clip and click on the button there, and it resets the calculator. The same what you got when you received your calculator from the factory. You don't need to do this, but I like doing this so it can be all fresh and clean. I click on exit and I get this. So if you have never used something called RPN, which is a way of putting numbers in the calculator, like for example the TI-30X Pro uses what they call an algebraic. You type what you see, you enter, and you get an answer. RPN is a little bit different. To me, RPN is more kind of like going through the orders of operation with no parentheses, making it a little more efficient, I think, in terms of doing the operations. That's debatable. But the way the calculator is right now is very faithful to the HP42S. Which, if you put your mindset to it, it's an 80s calculator, and it has a certain way of entering those numbers. What I want to do is I want to change that format, so it'll be easier to show you what RPN is all about. If you don't want to do these steps, don't. But I'm going to do it because it's just easier to explain how to use this calculator. Okay, so these things right here, X, Y, Z, T, those are stacks. And just like any other calculator that's multi-leveled, those numbers just pop up as you go. This one, though, as the numbers go up, those values disappear after 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one, it's really after the fourth value, it just disappears. So we're going to change that. So what we're going to do first is to go into the Shift button and then Setup. All right, and then we're going to go to Settings, which you can move the up and down key here, or press number 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down, and you can see it has time, date, and so forth. You can always change that later. But number 8 should be selected. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to select that, and we're going to make sure it's checked. We're going to press Exit, and then get out. Press exit twice. That's going to be the first thing we need to do. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go, again, Shift, and then we're going to go to Catalog. All right, and then we're going to go to this, we're going to go down one level, and we're going to go to STK, I guess, maybe stack, maybe. When we're there, we're going to go down one more. So we're going to go down. And we're going to pick NSTK. Okay, now we should have more than one stack available. See, 5. Right, we got more stacks that we can rely on. The next thing I want to do is these numbers 1 through 6 are really close to the numbers that I'm dealing with, and I don't want to get confused. So we're going to click on, these are function buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, some people call them function buttons. The second function button, if you press that, it's a menu. And here we got Reg FM. Press it once, the numbers move over. Press it again, it gives you these lines. Perfect. And then you press Exit. And then Exit again. Oh no, that's right. Press Menu. Sorry about that. And then now it's perfectly balanced in a way that it's a little bit easier to read. These numbers that I have here, the 5 and the 8, I want to clear what they call the stack. I want to clear all those things. You press Shift, which is the yellow key, clear, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4th button, clear stacks, and then it disappears. Now, if this is going a little too fast, pause, and then go back and review it. You could enter, we're going to enter numbers, okay? I'm going to show you how to add and subtract and all that in a minute. But to enter numbers, you press 4 and then you press enter, right? And then 3 and then enter, 7 and enter. You see, you can look at the numbers, 9 and enter, 5 and enter, 8 and enter, and it keeps going, 9 and enter. These numbers are being populated with these stacks going up. Now, if we press the R down arrow, we can find those numbers again. They'll come back. Okay, they haven't gone anywhere. And you can operate these numbers when they come back from the stack. Okay. When you type a number and then enter, it gives you extra values. You can see that it's fixed. So I don't want it fixed. I want to show all of it. So if you press Shift and Display, enter under Fix, you can do Scientific, Engineering. We'll press All. So now the numbers are nicer for me. If you want to go back to fixed, let's say you go Shift, Display, you press Shift, and then you can type in, I want 5 numbers after the decimal place. And then enter. You can see that. Or Shift, Display, Scientific. Let's do 5. No, not 5. Let's do 3. We'll change it up a little bit. Enter. You can see it's 3 digits of the decimal place and then times 10 to the whatever number. In this case, 0. But Shift, Display, All. Oh no, that's engineering. Oh, let's do 8. That's engineering. I don't use engineering. Shift, Display, All. Boom, done. Okay, so let's do the mode for sure. Shift, modes. Again, Shift is the yellow button. Modes. I want it in degrees. Okay. Double check. Yep. You can always press exit to get out. And then the next thing I want to do is if I type in a number and enter, it gives me the commas for every 3 values, and I don't want to do that. I want it with no commas. To do that, we're going to clear what they call a flag. There are certain things that are set into the calculator. We're going to go to Shift and then Flags, which is number 6. And we're going to clear a flag. Which flag is that? Number 29. And now you can see it's cleared up. Perfect. Now we're ready to do some math here. Or do some calculations, right? So what we want to do is we want to press the Shift and clear, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, clear stack. Like I mentioned before, the more times you do this, the more easier it gets from muscle memory. Okay, now we're ready to do some arithmetic. For example, 4 plus 3, okay? If we enter, we're going to type in 4, and you can see there's a space here telling me that this number hasn't entered into the stack. So we press enter. That needs to be entered first. And then we're going to type in a 3. Okay, we can enter. Now we got the 4 and the 3, and now we can add those together. Gives you 7. And of course, it doesn't show you what calculation you did, like an algebraic calculator like this one. If you turn this on, right, 4 plus 3, and then enter, gives you 7. And it's not a traditional calculator where there's an equal sign. So you won't see equal signs on the DM42n, nor will you see parentheses. Okay, let's say -4 plus 3. So you type in 4. You can put the plus or minus key there. You enter it, 3, and then you add. Gives you -1. Okay. Now, let's do that -4 plus 3. 4, right? You can press enter. You can put the negative afterwards. And then you can put 3. And you don't have to enter it. You just press add. Okay, just like 4 plus 3. 4, enter. 3, you don't have to enter. You just press add. Okay, so there are certain steps you can skip. I don't know, 2 times 8, we know it's 16, right? 2, enter, 8, and then we can multiply 16. Or 2, enter, 8, enter, multiply. Pretty straightforward. Negative 2 times 9, let's say. We can press 2, right? Enter, and you can put a negative sign on it. 9, you can enter if you like, and multiply. Gives you negative 18. Or you can say 2, enter, 9 times, and you know the answer is negative, right? Because negative times a positive is negative, so you can keep it if you like. Either way, it's correct. Now, division, right? If you do something like 5 divided by 4, 5, enter, 4, divide, and gives you 1.25. There are no ABC buttons here or no fraction buttons on this calculator. Again, think of yourself back to the 80s if you were alive back then and going into college or high school. There was no ABC button, no fraction button. So you're going to have to work on the constraints of this calculator. All right, now let's say, you want to take the reciprocal of 1.25, right? Then the reciprocal button's right here. The number's already there, 0.8, right? Which is really 4 divided by 5, right? 4, enter, 5, divide. And if you take the reciprocal, it gives you 1.25. If the number's already, as you can see, if the number's already in the stack, you can do the operation. Okay, which is nice. Let's say you were doing the square root of 8. In this calculator, you have to press 8 first. You can enter it if you like, and then take the square root. Or you can take 8 and then take the square root. Either way, it gives you some options. And of course, this keeps going. So you can see something like 1 over the square root of 2, right? What you can do is you can take 2, right? You don't have to enter it. 2 square root 1 over x, and it's done. It's a natural progression in terms of understanding how the problem evolves. You could do 1, enter, right? 2, and then enter, take the square root, and then divide. You could do that. But because you know there's a reciprocal, you can take 2 square root 1 over x. So you'll see eventually that you'll be skipping steps, saving steps, things to make the process go a little bit faster. One thing here is 7.071, right, times 10 to the minus 1. It gives it to you in scientific notation. This calculator doesn't allow you to have that. It's not 0.707106. I don't know why it doesn't do that. I don't think it has a flag for it either. So we're just going to have to stay there. Okay, let's say you do like 7 squared, which we know is 49, right? In an HP calculator, if there's a y and an x symbol together, you need to type y first and then x. Some calculators, you type the exponent first and then the base. This one, on these HP calculators, if you have 2 letters, y is first. So y to the x is right here above 1 over x. So here we're going to type in 7. We enter 2. We don't have to enter it, but we can if we wanted to. And then shift y to the x, 49. Or 7, enter, 2, shift, y to the x. It seems to be a little more busier, doesn't it? But again, we're getting rid of parentheses and the equal sign if you think about it. Okay, let's say you had the third root of 8. In this calculator, there is no x root of some number. So here, you'll have to say 8 to the 1/3. So 8, enter. You can type in 3, 1 over x. That's your exponent. Shift y to the x, and it gives you 2. Okay. Yes, that's a little bit weird. That doesn't make any sense compared to other calculators that might have that type of function. True. And, you know, I think there's a give and take in terms of what you're giving away and what the expectation is. And here, I haven't shown you the full potential of the calculator yet. So let's keep moving. Let's say you had the log of 17, base 10, which this is the log of base 10. 17, and you just press log. You don't need to enter it. 17, if you enter it, that's fine. You can press log, it gives you the same answer. Okay. The anti-log is 10 to the x. So you had 10 squared, right? So press. Did you see that? I pressed 1. I want to delete it. I can delete it that way. So it's 2, and then the shift x to the 10, right, is 100. I can erase it. I can take the anti-log of this number, right? Shift anti-log is going to give me 17. Same thing with the natural log of 17, right? I press 17 and I press the natural log, it gives you 2.8332. If I do the anti-log for e, then you can press shift e to the x, gives you 17. Again, e to the 1 is the e value, so you press 1, shift e to the x, that's e. There are, of course, scientific notation, like 3.07 times 10 to the second minus 3.45 times 10 to the fifth. Here you go 3.07, right? E 2, right, times 10 to the 2, enter. And then 3.45, right? Then e to the 5th power. And then let's say you're going to subtract. And that gives you negative 3.4693. It's in scientific notation that you wrote, but the answer is not. I mean, you can always press second modes. It's not second mode, second display. Sorry about that. Scientific notation at what? To significant level, let's say, or scientific notation of, let's say, 2. Enter. So there it goes. Negative 3.45 times 10 to the 5th. Scientific notation. Yes, that 2 was right here, isn't it? Is that a 5? Let's see what happened here. That's a 4. That's right. 3, 4, 9. Let's do that again. I'm not sure why. 3.07 E. Oh, I know. Oh, no. Yeah, let's do that again. 2, right? Enter. 3.45 E to the 5th. Subtract. And that is 3.45. Okay, now it did it in scientific notation because I have it in scientific notation. Shift, display, all. Oh, okay, I see what it did. Negative 344,693. So it rounded the number. Okay, well now you know. Right? Because shift display scientific at 2, right? 2 digits. Enter. You can see it did negative 3.45 times 10 to the 5th, which is this, negative 3.45 when you round it from 6 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Sometimes you have to do certain things in the calculator to get a familiarity of it. I didn't know it rounded. Now I know. Okay. Shift, display, all. That's the way I want it. All right. Now, this log, there's these log problems like log of 8 to the base, let's say 9. There is no log of y to the x or something like that. That's a 9. So to do this, we can say log of 8 divided by log of 9. It works this way. So you can type in 8 log 9 log divide. And that gives you 9.4639 and so forth. Okay? So you could do that. This is an algebraic formula. The top here goes to the top number, bottom, the base goes in the bottom, and it's done. I have a few videos to show you on that if you want on this channel. Okay, now what I want to do is do a multi-step problem and hopefully give you a sense of what the power of the calculator can do. Let's say you wanted to do something like 2 parentheses 5 plus 7. Let's say you want to do something like that, right? Well, in this case, we work inside first and then multiply by 2. So 5, enter, 7 plus, I added that, and then 2 times, right? Which is 7 plus 5 is 12 times 2 is 24. All right. So no parentheses. Let's say 2 of 5 minus 7 and then squared, right? 5, enter, 7, right? You don't have to enter it. You just subtract. Then you square it. Well, square button's right here. So shift squared. And then multiply. Then take 2 and then multiply by 2. Gives you 8. Okay. Again, no parentheses. You have to work like with order of operation. Let's say 2, 6 minus 3 cubed over the square root of 8. Ooh, okay. Well, we work on the top and then the bottom. Here, 6 take away 3, 6, enter, 3, take away, right? Then cube it. This is y, but when we're going to cube it, see the 3 is already there, right? Which is this answer. We can't enter it again to duplicate that number. Then shift y to the x, which is 27, multiplied by 2. So we take 2 and multiply it. Then we need to take the square root of 8, 8 square root, and then we're going to divide. Right? Yes, that is a lot of steps. Let me see. 2, you could put 2 first if you wanted to. And then 6, enter, 3, subtract, type another 3 so that you can cube it, multiply, take 8 square root and divide. Ooh, right? Imagine doing that on one of these algebraic calculators. You can, but you would have to put some parentheses. You can make it even more complicated. 2, right? 7 minus 4 to the 4th power over the square root of 17. And let's say you wanted to do the log of it. Okay. All right. So we can go 7, enter, 4, take away to the 4th power, 4, shift, y to the x, 2, multiply, 17, square root, divide, and log, 1.5942. You're like, wow, that was too fast. You're going too fast, I know. Just to give you a sense of like the complexity of the problem, but how fast they can go, right? And again, it has a lot to do with the orders of operation. You do whatever is in here in the parentheses, whatever number, take it to the 4th power. Then you have a new number, multiply by 2. Then take the square root of 17, divide those two numbers, and then take the log of that. That's where it's going. And then we can do some more. Let's say 2, right? 3 squared minus 4 parentheses, right? Let's say this is 1 over 3, right? Divided by the square root of 17 plus 1 over 8. All this, right, to the power of half minus 2. Whoa. I don't even know if I can do that. Sure I can. Okay. Right? This is a little bit crazy. But 3 squared is 9. But you can say 3, enter, 2, right? Y to the x. Or, wait a minute, let me see. 3, enter, 2, y to the x. There we go, 9, that's right. Right? Or we can go 3, shift, squared. Okay, 9. Then 4, take away, right? Then this is to the 1/3 power. So we can take 3, the reciprocal, and then take it to that power. And then multiply it by 2. Down here we have, and this number here is on the stack. So I'll just leave it alone. 17, I take the square root of that. And then I'm going to add 1 over 8. So it's 8, 1 over 8. I'm going to add. I'm going to divide by it. We can divide those two, right? And then I'm going to take the square root of it, right? Or 2, and take the reciprocal, and then shift y to the x. And then take 2 and subtract it. And get negative 1.1027, and so forth. A lot of steps. Let's see if we can duplicate that in a little bit different fashion, maybe. 3 squared, right? 3, enter, 2, shift, y to the x, 9, 4, take away, right? And then 1 over 3. 3, take the reciprocal of 3, and then shift y to the x, multiply it by 2, then 17, don't even have to enter it, take the square root of that, then 1, enter, 8, divide, and then add, and then divide, and then take the square root, and then take 2 and subtract that, and gives you the same answer. Do you see? I was doing it a little bit different. I know that this is the square root. I said 1 divided by 8 instead of 1 over x, where I had the 8, right? So there are different ways of doing it. The complexity of these problems are narrowed down to getting rid of these parentheses, really not having them in the calculator, doing, basically step by step, and then keeping these numbers. You see, if you had a traditional calculator, you would say 3 squared, and then you would say 9, and then subtract 4, and then you would do that, it gives you 5. And then you would say, you know, to the third power. And then you could multiply it by 2. But then you would have to store that number in a traditional calculator. And then you would take the square root of 17, probably, and then you would add, you could type in 8 or 1 over 8, and then equals, and you would have another number. And then what you can do is you can store that number too, and divide those two stored numbers, and then when you had that, you could take the square root of it. It's not impossible to do this problem in a algebraic calculator or a traditional calculator. That's not the point on this. The point is that these numbers are kept in stacks. They're kind of like they store the numbers for you so you can do another operation, and then when those two numbers are ready, you see when you have two numbers in a stack, you can do a combination of things. You can divide, multiply, subtract, or add. What do you want to do, right? You can multiply it and then take the square root. Or again, if you have two numbers on the stack, you can subtract them and then take, let's say, you could take it to the third power if you wanted to. I was going to do something else. Let's say 8 and 9 again, right? What do you want to do with this? You want to multiply it, and then you want to take the natural log of it. You see? The two numbers are there ready for you to do whatever operation you want. The operator and the operand or something, right? Okay. Let's say you want to do the sine of 180, right? Wherein, if you go to shift and, is it modes? You're in degrees. You press exit. So 180, right? And then the sine gives you 0. Or the cosine on 180, right? And then you press cosine, gives you -1. You can always change the mode into radians. And this is where it gets kind of weird. I don't know what's wrong with this. The sine of pi in radians should be 0. But pi is over here. If I do pi, right, and I type in sine, I get almost 0. Maybe because when I do pi, it's not showing me pi as a what is it, a transcendental number or whatever. I'm only putting in these numbers in the calculator. And I guess if we click this and show, it shows me all the numbers that it's going to put in the calculator. And so it doesn't really reach to 0. Maybe that's why it does that. As for pi here, pi of cosine, though, that's a different story. It gives me -1. So the cosine of pi gives me -1. So I'm not sure. That's the only explanation I have for that. I think there's something weird going on in there. Definitely would be interesting to know and to ask somebody who knows. Sometimes when you type in numbers like 9 and 8, right, and you enter it, you want to switch these numbers. So you can use the XY key, and you can switch the numbers, see? Switch them. Because maybe you wanted to multiply them, divide them a certain way. You know, if you do 101 times, or 101 of 2%, you know, of is multiplying, but 101, you enter it of 2%, you go 2, shift %, it automatically does it for you. It automatically does the calculation for you. How do I know that's right? 101 times 0.02. 101.02 multiply gives you the same answer. Okay. Let's see. There's a conversion here. If you go to convert, right? Convert to degrees, convert to radical. Let's say 180 degrees to radians. What is that? Pi. See that? I don't like it that it kicks you out from the conversion. Let's say I had 3.25 hours, and I wanted to change them to hours, minutes, and seconds. It gives you 3.15, right? 3 hours, 15 minutes. So you can do conversions. So the next thing I want to do is to store some numbers. Let's go to Shift, Clear, and I'm going to clear the stack. All right, I'll clear the stack. With that, let's store some numbers. Let's say I wanted to store the square root of 258, right? And I want to store it. What I can do is I can click on Store, and then it's telling me, what do you want to store the name of? So if you press this, the Shift and Alpha, you're going to be able to type any of these numbers, and then you can type it in there. You see it says RAD and it's blank. It means you can type like a division sign if you want. We can clear that. Let's press Shift Alpha again, or any of these numbers, or I guess this sign here. No, it doesn't let you. How about a period? Yeah, it does. You go back, but it takes away from the mode, Shift Alpha. So right now it's blank. If you press Shift up, there's a capital A, meaning that you can choose the letters here, like an R or something. And if you Shift up again, it's a smaller A. So I guess you can do a small a. You can also go on these keys here, like this key, the third function button, and then you can press the letter K, and then you enter it, right? So I'm storing that number. So if I ever clear it and clear the stack, I can always recall that number and press the RTK, and the number appears again. So you can store numbers that way. It's a bit cumbersome. It's not very easy to just say, oh, store 1, store 2. It gives you the option to put a variable name on it, which this calculator, by the way, can program. Right? Look, it says program right there. So you can do programs on this calculator. But again, you got to put in your mindset that programming in the 1980s capacity, probably in the 80s, maybe late 70s. Okay. So another thing to consider is that let's look at some of the, so if you go to Shift and Setup, right, you can go down here when we were on number 4, settings. You go down and then enter. You can set the time. If you press enter here, you can change the time. Like, I guess you can make it 24 hours. Yeah. And you can add the hours and the minutes and the seconds and reset it. And then you can, it says press enter to set new time. Okay. So you have to read. You can go down, right? You can enter, and then you can add the month, the day, or subtract the day, or even the year. Wow, we are 2024 now. And actually pretty soon 2025. Then press enter. Okay, and then the status bar, if you press enter, it gives you things like the file name of the program that you want. If you want the day of the week, no I don't. Or the date, no I don't. The separators for your date. The month shortcut, I'm not sure what that is. Show the time, no I don't want that. Show the voltage of the of the device. No, I don't want that either. And then you can press exit. If you move over here, stack font size, I have no idea what this is. But we're going to go back. Beep, I do like it to beep. Slow auto repeat, don't know what that is. The stack layout, if you press enter, well, this stack layout is gone now, so we don't we don't have that. Let's press exit. Okay, and then this one we already set dynamic stack extension. Okay, so we're back to settings again. So what I wanted to show you is that you can, and let's press exit one more time. What you can do is you can connect the calculator to a computer, Windows, Mac, I think even the Linux machine, and USB-C. That's one of the advantages of the DM42n. Not only that, it's faster compared to the the DM42. This one it has a C47 software, but in this one it has a USB micro, which can be annoying. Most companies now are going through USB-C. But if you want to connect this, you have to connect it to the computer. And then the steps are, you go shift setup, and then enter for file, and then you can scroll down and then activate USB disk. Don't do it. If it's not connected to the computer, then it's not going to work. You press enter, it shows up on your computer or whatever questions it's asking you. Note, if you're going to not use it in the calculator more, you have to unmount it, and then this will automatically kick you out. Okay? Don't unmount it and unplug it without unmounting. Supposedly, you can, ruin the system somehow. We don't want that. It says show disk information right here. Not sure what that tells me. Okay, press exit, right? We're here. Like I mentioned before, you can load programs. When you buy the DM42n, there's programs already installed so that you can bring them up and run them. That's a cool thing about this calculator, that you can program it, and then based on those programs, you can do a lot more than what you can see here. So right here it says execute, like to execute, I think. So let's run a program, let's say, or let's load a program, because if you look at the store, or let's look at recall, you can see that it's blank for variables. Let's press exit, and if you press execute, that's empty, like execute a program. End is always there. Exit. Let's load a program that's already stored in here. So how do you do that? You press second setup, you click on file, you click on load program, and here's the programs. There's one that's called statistics, somewhere around here. The only one that I know, statistics. Enter, success, exit, exit, exit. Now you press execute, and then you can see this is full now. Press stats. It's telling you to enter a matrix. What we're going to do is we're going to do a 5x1 matrix. The way, again, HP works, they want the Y values first. So let's say I have Y values of 11, 21, 31, 41, 51. Right? And I want to find the mean, standard deviation, add these numbers and so forth. But I need to make a matrix. This is a 5x1 matrix. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows and 1 column. So I want to do a 5-row by 1 column matrix. Shift matrix. I want to do a new matrix 5 by 1. And it says, oh, you want to do a 5 by 1 matrix? It's ready. Okay, then you press edit. And now we have row 1, column 1. What's the value that you want to put? 11. Then you go down arrow, 21, down arrow, 31, down arrow, 41, down arrow, because that's the 4th. Well, if you go up, that's the 4th row, first column. Then you can go down, then 51, right? And that's it. We're done. Then we can press exit, and we have this matrix, but it's not saved. So we can press store, and then we can press shift alpha to store that matrix. And we use these keys here, A, B, C. So we're naming it. Then we enter. Then we exit. We can delete this if we wanted to, because if we recall, there's the ABC matrix, which if we want to edit, we're going to shift matrix, and we can edit, and those are the numbers. Okay, so let's delete that. Let's go back to the execute, the stats, and it says recall a Y matrices on the stack. So we're going to recall the ABC matrix, right? It's on the stack, and I'm going to calculate that. So here we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 155 is the total. Is that right? Yep. The mean is 31. That's about right. Spread out. You can say 155 divided by 5, right? 31. The median, yeah, that's about right. The standard deviation is 15.8. The range is 40, because you can subtract those two numbers. If you click on more, you got the min as 11, the max as 51. And then this one is to put the x value. And then you click on more, you're back over here. So there are other things that you can do, like create a program. You can do the solver and such. That's not on this video. This is just a beginner's guide. But it should have given you an idea of how to operate this calculator. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Thank you for any support. And I hope you have a great semester. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.